Good morning, everyone. This is the most exciting day for the South Carolina ports and all of our supporters and people who are here. One of the things that we talk about at the port all the time is that you have to celebrate the victories. It doesn't matter how big or how small, because it's important. And today is probably one of the most tremendous victories that the state of South Carolina will achieve, at least in my lifetime. This project is generational. It is one of the most exciting things that we have been able to accomplish together. And I just can't tell you how excited I am. I wondered if we would get to this day, and we actually got to it 2 years earlier than what we anticipated. So I'm going to do my best to stick to my script, because that actually will be to everybody's benefit, because I could talk about this all day. When you've worked on something for 12 years, you have a lot of stories, lots and lots of stories. But here we go. Good morning. We are so excited and honored to be here with all of you to celebrate the successful completion of our Harbor Deepening project. Thank you, Mayor Haney and members of the Town Council who are here with us today for hosting us in Mount Pleasant's Waterfront Park. Today has been a long time coming. Let's take a quick look back at what our harbor used to look like. I'm sure you all will remember this view. How about that? Secretary Hall, a couple of old bridges in the background there. Can see how close that ship is to the old bridge. Our infrastructure seems to be vastly improving, while the rest of us have somewhat aged over the course of this project. Yeah, how about that? Lisa Matheny still looks great. I, on the other hand, am showing my age. We have worked on the Charleston Harbor Deepening project for 12 years alongside many project partners. Just pictures of a few. How about that? Governor Henry McMaster, the South Carolina legislature, our congressional delegation, there's quite a few photos here. Our environmental partners, engineers and dredging companies, an incredibly talented team at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Charleston District, who were with us every step of the way. Here is Senator Graham in 2010 attending one of the many, many meetings that he would partake in during the next 12 years. I can assure you, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was probably shocked when the first U.S. Senator attended a Civil Works Review Board. And he knew more than most people in the room. In 2012, our General Assembly set aside $300 million for this deepening project. And this appropriation was done years before we were even supposed to begin construction. We are standing here today with a successfully deepened harbor because of that very pivotal decision. Their bold move made this infrastructure possible. And so for all the members of the General Assembly who are here today, thank you. Big round of applause. It showed the federal government that we weren't playing around. As a state, we had the money, we had the will, and we had the support to get this project going. Here's the next photo I wanted to share with you. This has been deemed the most effective 15 seconds of a meeting in anyone's lifetime. Charleston Mayor at the time, Joe Riley, traveled to D.C. with us to meet with the president at the time to ask for his support. And by the way, that is when the Obama administration became invested in our project. This was a critical move to move the project forward, as President Obama at this time named our project a We Can't Wait initiative. And who knew how important that was going to be? And then in 2015, President Biden visited our port to talk about the importance of freight infrastructure. He shared that our Deepening project was critical to supporting the U.S. economy. Our project was the first to be studied and completed entirely under the Corps of Engineers' SMART planning process. This cut the feasibility study down from 7 years to 4 and decreased study costs from $20 million to $11 million. Our project got the green light from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Chiefs Report in 2015 and received congressional authorization in 2016. Do you understand how hard it is to hit every milestone in a congressional project like this? It's almost impossible. So, ladies and gentlemen, we did the impossible together. And then construction began in 2018. We were fortunate to begin construction before we had full funding of the project. But in 2019, our project became fully funded, with the completion being given by President Trump, who signed into law $138 million of a congressional appropriation. Our congressional delegation worked tirelessly to get this across the finish line. They consistently advocated for our project at the federal level, sharing how important it is for our country's supply chains and economies to be successful. Thank you for the years of dedication by our congressional delegation, especially Senator Graham, who championed this Deepening project, and to Andrew King, who is here today, for all of the support that he gave us in the early years to get the study off the ground. The Army Corps has consistently deepened this harbor to keep pace with the growing size of ships. This is the 8th time that Charleston Harbor has been deepened. The harbor underwent its first deepening in 1851. I was not there for that one. Going from 12 feet to 17 feet, if you can believe it. The latest harbor deepening project brings us to 52 feet from 45 feet. Deepening work began in the entrance channel and continued through the harbor to our 3 container terminals. This new depth has enabled SC ports to handle the biggest container ships already calling the East Coast, like the CMA CGM Brazil, the MSC Reshmi, and the CMA CGM Marco Polo, as well as what we expect to be even larger vessels in the future. One aspect we never talk about when we talk about deepening projects is the importance of width in our turning basins. And so this photo illustrates how important it is to be able to pass 2 ultra-large container ships inside of our harbor. We have overcome so many unexpected twists and turns since 2010. Our Deepening project was full of big moments and big challenges. We handled many regulatory approval processes. We navigated the engineering, construction, and environmental aspects of such a large public works project. We secured $580 million in state and federal funding, always racing against budget cycles. Thank you again to our South Carolina legislature, our congressional delegation, and Governor McMaster for having the faith in us and for understanding how important this project is to the future of South Carolina. Thank you to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Charleston District, who's been just the most incredible partner throughout this entire project. Special thanks to Brian Williams, who's not with us today, Lisa Matheny, and Jacob Kaiser, as well as members of our project delivery team. They are the people that made this project successful. Yes, thank you. General, I won't steal all of your speech because I think you're naming the colonels that are here, but I think we have as many colonels here as we've maybe seen in our congressional delegation throughout the process, and that is a huge tribute to how much dedication you all had to bringing this project to fruition. The entire Army Corps team worked alongside us every step of the way to secure regulatory approvals and environmental permits, award dredging contracts, and keep the project on time and on budget. I want to say thank you to Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Corporation, Norfolk Dredging Company, and Marinex Construction for performing the work. You know, it's always a good thing when you get to thank the dredgers at the end of the project, because sometimes, you might have a little disagreement during. The Charleston Branch Harbor pilots, as well as the U.S. Coast Guard Sector Charleston, were incredibly valuable partners during this construction as well. The project would not have been successful without their input and cooperation. And I say thank you again to many elected leaders, project partners, environmental partners, Bob, I see you right there, and business community partners for all the work and support over the years. And I must also say thank you to our South Carolina Ports Authority Board of Directors for guiding us as always, and to our SC Ports team, especially Ed Staymeyer, who's been instrumental during construction of this project, because we can't do it without such a great team. All the hard work has certainly paid off. Charleston now has the deepest harbor on the U.S. East Coast at 52 feet. We can handle mega container ships fully loaded with imports and exports without any tidal restrictions. This depth makes us more competitive. This depth attracts more investment and business to our state. Most importantly, our deepening project will bring economic successes and opportunities to South Carolinians for generations to come. It is truly a historical moment here in South Carolina. We will now hear from our speakers on stage. I'd like to first introduce General Hibner. Brigadier General Hibner has been with the Corps 29 years as a commissioned officer. He served in numerous command and staff positions in the United States and the Middle East, and currently serves as the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers South Atlantic Division. We are honored to have him here with us today. General Hibner.
Thank you for the introduction. To Senator Graham and Scott, Congressman Nancy Mace, Governor McMaster, of course, Ms. Melvin, Jim Newsom, and all of the very many distinguished guests we have with us today, thank you for being here. Today is a great day. It's an opportunity for us to celebrate a fantastic achievement. And we are celebrating a project that was delivered through absolutely amazing partnerships at every level. And that's vital. It's vital to bring a program of this size to fruition and to benefit this city and the region. And it will have a global impact. Many of our teammates and representatives are here today, and they are undoubtedly able to share some of the amazing stories of how this community embarked on a journey as one team to help create what is now the deepest port on the East Coast. But I get to start with what today means for the communities down I-26 and beyond. Nationwide waterborne transportation is the U.S. supply chain. Nearly half of all consumer goods purchased by Americans pass through harbors maintained through dredging by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This kind of efficiency, effectiveness, and global impact is why the Corps of Engineers and elected officials, the ones you see here today, are placing so much emphasis on strengthening our infrastructure and our overall supply chain. And that strengthening starts right here in Charleston. Through the vision of South Carolina and our Charleston district and the port leadership of Barbara Melvin and Jim Newsom, we are delivering a project that is making a difference on a global scale. Thanks to your efforts, these channels and this port can be safely navigated for our shipping industry and boaters across the spectrum, to include today's massive post-Panamax vessels, the new container ships that are so vital to our supply chain. Charleston can now host the largest ships in the world at any time, any tide. Each of you should be immensely proud of what today means and what you accomplished. But we didn't get to today without the resourcing of our leaders, the commitment of the community, and the contributions of professionals focused on getting the job done the right way, safely, and within budget. Team Post 45 starts with our federal partners and leaders who authorized and appropriated the resources needed to take on all of these important initiatives. More than 2.5 million of community man-hours to remove enough material out of the water that could fill 12,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Our USACE team from all levels, to include engineers, our scientists, innovative planners, biologists, and construction professionals. And our contractors with Great Lakes Dredge and Lock, Marinex Construction, and Norfolk Dredging Company. Each of you played a critical role to play in achieving this ambitious vision, and one that will leave a lasting impact here at home and across the nation for decades to come. Finally, as mentioned, I would like to take a moment to thank our great team with Charleston District and the 7 commanders that helped to oversee these efforts. 4 of them are here today, of course, including our current commander, Lieutenant Colonel Drew Johannes. So I would ask you to stand and be recognized. Drew, Colonel Retired Jason Kirk, Colonel Retired Ed Chamberlain, and Colonel Retired Rachel Hondard. And before you sit, also to recognize the Deputy District Engineer for Programs and Project Management, Lisa Mithaney, who's been here for the whole ride. Thank you. And then those not in attendance, Colonel Retired John Litz, Colonel Jeff Palazzini, who both also played significant roles bringing this program forward. And what began as a study in 2012 with construction beginning in 2018, this now stands as a beacon for the future of the city of Charleston, the state of South Carolina, and of course our nation. And we know that you aren't done, with further investments planned and work already underway to develop the Navy base, intermodal facility, and of course many other critical infrastructure projects. This is an absolutely exciting time, not only for this community, but for South Carolina, the East Coast, the nation, and of course, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We are absolutely just proud to be part of this team. Thank you. SAON's Building Strong.
Wow, you're a lot taller than I am. It is my honor now to introduce Governor McMaster, who tirelessly supports critical infrastructure projects like this Deepening project. Governor McMaster is known for propelling South Carolina forward, another maritime joke for you, and making sure that the world knows that South Carolina is open for business. Governor McMaster?
Y'all, I got to say, I was getting dressed to come down here today, and I put on this tie, and Peggy said, "That's kind of loud, isn't it?" I said, "Well, maybe so, but I'll try it out." But I want y'all to take a look at these shoes and Tim Scott socks. Okay,
I thought you were not
no, so I think I'm in good company. Look at Nancy got on some boots too. Y'all, Y'all, I'll be very brief. Just this is really what success looks like. This is a great moment, as has been said. It took a lot to get here, and I would like to recognize a few people. A lot have been recognized, but I'd like the Ports Authority people to stand and take a bow. Bill Stern, the chairman, Dave Posick, Mark Bike, Whit Smith. Y'all stand up and let them take a good look at you. We thank you. And all the commerce is coming out of this port. You know, we got 2 inland ports too. Go up to Norfolk Southern and CSX up to Greer and also Dillon. No other state in the country's got that. And now we have the deepest port on the East Coast. We can bring in the ships 2 at a time, in and out, anytime, any tide, any day. I don't think anybody else can say that. But it's taken a long time to get here. That means more traffic on the roads. That means we're going to have to get the roads paved and widened. So, Christy Hall, stand up and take a bow, please. No pressure at all, Department of Transportation. And of course, those roads, a lot of that's going to have to be paid for, too. So let's see who could be writing the checks. I see Adam over there, Larry. Y'all stand up. Brian Adams, Larry Grooms, Joe Bustos. Where's Tom Hartnett? Bill Chumley. Stand up, take it. All right. Okay. Where's Mike Smith? Where is he? All right, he's already standing. All right. Well, y'all, just a few facts to put this in perspective. There's been a lot of leadership, has been mentioned by a lot of people, but there are a couple of folks that are not here that played a large role in everything that goes on in the Low Country and Charleston and other parts of the state. One is Mayor Joe Riley, who's done a fabulous job over the years. And also one that's gone to heaven already is Hugh Leatherman, and I don't believe we'd be here without Hugh Leatherman of Florence. We have a great group and just a few figures, keeping in mind that this is what cooperation, collaboration, and communication looks like. It doesn't happen without a lot of people with a lot of thought doing a lot of work and making things happen to go in the right direction. But I got to tell you, South Carolina is booming. There's not another state that's doing what we're doing. And I get to talk to people from all around the world that are looking to invest hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, and they want to come to South Carolina. It's because of a lot of reasons. But the main one always is the people, the people, the people. And you see a lot of those people who've made this happen that are here in this room now. But just this year, I've been able to announce with major investments over $5.26 billion. That's a record for South Carolina in 1 year, and we're not through yet. We still have the month of December to go. So y'all keep your eyes peeled, and it's coming. 9,000 new jobs just in this year. And since I've been in office, 67,000 new jobs and over 22 billion so far in investment. And just think of the others in office over the years going way back. We've got such a good team, such a great place. We're living in paradise. Most of us don't realize it. But on that point, one story, we had a convention here. It wasn't it was a group of new governors elected from around the country, as well as some of the older ones. And part of we're staying at the Charleston place. And y'all, these people that had never been to Charleston before, never seen the Low Country, just couldn't believe what they were seeing. And we urged them to walk around and take a look at the buildings and the water, and they went out on the boat and saw Fort Sumter and all that sort of stuff, and looked at the beaches. Where's Will Haney? They just love the beaches. And they were absolutely stunned. The law enforcement people from South Carolina who were accompanying them when they were going around said they couldn't believe it. They were taking pictures left and right. They were asking questions about the history. They were looking at the water, looking at the buildings, and they realized that a lot of those buildings or those houses down on the Battery are older than their states are. You know, they weren't even thought of by the time those houses were going up. So what we have to do, I believe, is realize that we are living in paradise. We have all that it takes to make future generations of South Carolina prosperous and happy, and we are going to do that. So I say just buckle up, because the next few years are going to be red hot. that we have launched. We're in a great position in this country. And when South Carolina is strong and when this country is strong, that means the world is a safe, happy place. So I would like to make one presentation, and that would be to the one and only Barbara Melville. Did y'all know her granddaddy wrote Moby Dick, Herman Melville? Oh, that ain't right? I thought that's where you got all your nautical stuff. No. This is called Heron Roost. It's a scene you don't see in many places, but you see it all over the place in South Carolina by a famous artist, and that is for you from 5.2 million proud, happy South Carolinians that are thrilled with the direction of our state. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, I was trying to hold it together, having worked on a project for 12 years, but now I'm in jeopardy. Help me please welcome Congressman Mace to the stage. She represents our 1st Congressional District. Her role in transportation and infrastructure is a key position for South Carolina, as she is able on that committee to support port projects that continue to bring jobs and additional investment to South Carolina. Congressman Mace.
Thank you, Barbara, and everyone who is here this morning. We could not have done this, the port could not have done this without all of the support, the federal, the state, and the local level. And I've been in this business for a little bit of time, and knowing how hard the state worked and working in the state legislature before getting into Congress, I learned so much. At the federal level in Congress, I learned it's a disaster. If you look and see what goes on day to day, or you just look at my Twitter feed or the Twitter feed of members of Congress, how little they get done. But we get so much done here in the state of South Carolina because, as the governor said, we are South Carolina strong, and business is booming. And Governor, I can tell you, I see this firsthand in the Low Country, because the 1st Congressional District is the 10th fastest growing congressional district in the nation. People are moving here from all over the country. It only increased exponentially during COVID because you kept the state open the entire time, and the port stayed open. Everybody worked. We have people here who are qualified to work, ready to work, and willing to work, and they're all moving here. So you've done a very good job, and we see that in the growth here, and it's an honor. I learned so much as a state lawmaker that whether you're Republican or you're Democrat, everybody worked together because we have a common goal at the end of the day. Congress can't be the same, but I'll tell you, at the federal level, I sort of feel like I'm the glue that keeps everything together. I got the Army Corps of Engineers on speed dial. I'm working on FEMA. They're not there yet, but the Army Corps answers the phone. We need a meeting or a phone call, they're there for us. The mayors, all of the mayors in the Low Country, the governor's office, got them on speed dial. And at the federal level, we often argue about how much money we're going to spend, how it's going to be spent, how it'll be paid for, and what projects it's going to be on. But I can tell you, every single time I have needed something at the federal level, all I've had to do is call or text our senators, Senator Tim Scott, Senator Lindsey Graham, and they have always delivered for the Low Country and the state of South Carolina. Because I'm only one of 435. They're 2 out of 100, but they're 2 very effective leaders for our state. Another reason that we are South Carolina strong. So, senators, I can't thank y'all enough for that. And I will tell you, I'm working very hard. We recently had the Water Resources Development Act that's still working through the legislative process. As a member of Congress, you're only allowed to submit 3 projects for that particular bill. I submitted 14. And we got 9 funded. We're at 8 now. We lost one of them. I'm working with the Senate right now. I'll try to get as much as we can at this point. But because of the growth we've had, I know that Christy Hall, she needs resources, and I'm working very hard to do that. And I just appreciate everybody in the state legislature, your leadership over the years, the ports leadership, and Barbara, our federal leaders. And it's an honor to work with every single one of you. And we all have something to be very, very proud of. And it's an honor. And we are all South Carolina strong today. Thank you.
We are so extremely fortunate today to have both of our U.S. senators with us, but please help me welcome Senator Scott. He has been a supporter of this project Throughout his entire political career, Senator Scott is a champion for efforts that bring opportunity and economic prosperity to South Carolina. Please welcome Senator Tim Scott.
Well, Barbara, thank you for your amazing leadership, without any question. I remember when I was in the State House, you were the lobbyist for the fort, and you have climbed the ranks and earned the position, and we are so proud to be led by a powerful, positive woman. Thank you for your leadership, Barbara. Governor, those are amazing black socks. They really are remarkable. I'll say this, and I'll be short. We've had lots of thank yous to all of us and to all of you for all of the hard work. You see the synergy of the South Carolina family and manifest in the jobs that so many people have, and that's a blessing. I think back to when I moved back to South Carolina when I was just 7 years old from an Air Force base. We moved into my grandfather's house. My grandfather was a State Ports Authority worker. He was just a run-of-the-mill kind of laborer. And I look back and see the success of this port, and I think about people like my granddaddy, who, without a college education, was able to support his family and his grandkids. Because there is a place for people who are willing to work hard to land and to grow successfully here in South Carolina. This is a state where having a college education is a good thing, but you can literally make a good living without it. This is a place where if you're a small business owner like I used to be, running a couple of Allstate insurance agencies, where I had the longshoremen coming in to pay their insurance, I think back to the ecosystem that is the State Ports Authority. I think about the reality that 1 out of every 10 jobs or 1 out of every 7 jobs are somehow connected to the port of Charleston. I think about the fact that this is not just South Carolina's port, that it's America's port, that nearly $3 trillion plus of goods flow through our port, which means that the entire nation benefits from this deepening project. But more importantly, I think about the little kids all over the South Carolina who one day can look for a future here at home and make a really good living because we have jobs and we continue to produce more jobs for everyday people who want to take care of their families, have an amazing life. And I'm thankful to be one of the beneficiaries of good leadership of the State Ports Authority.
Thank you, Senator. It is now truly my honor to introduce Senator Graham. I'm really not sure where to begin. It is because of his support and drive that we were able to get this project done. Whether that meant shutting down the U.S. Senate over $125,000 to start this study, or being with us for 4 years ago on the USS Yorktown to kick off the deepening construction, he has been along the way the most amazing supporter as we are now completing this journey. Thank you for everything you have done for the future of South Carolina. Senator Graham.
Thank you. Well, Tim was short. I am short, so I don't know if I'll be short. So let's start with, we're just beginning, Henry. My goal is to connect the port to Lake Hartwell. That'll keep me around for a while. It's all uphill, too. So I don't know where to begin. I was looking at Bill. You've been with me since the beginning. It's moments like this that make you appreciate why the job is important and understand putting up with all the crap is worth it. And it's been a team effort from the beginning. And when you look at the assets of the state and the challenges of the state, we got plenty of both. Educational opportunities coming to South Carolina because of our Senator Scott and our partners in the State House. That's a challenge to get people a better education in this state so they can work in a workforce that's constantly changing. But I'm from the upstate. I'm from Central. And my dad owned a liquor store. We're 5 miles from Clemson. We always loved it when Clemson played at home. That was very good for business. But it was pretty obvious to me how important the Port of Charleston is to the future of South Carolina. Tim said it well. You know, a lot of jobs depend on this port being modern and viable and relevant. As we celebrate our success, we need to remind ourselves what failure would have looked like. The economy of South Carolina would have hit a brick wall, Henry, if we had failed to go to 52 feet. We're here to celebrate the most 7 consequential feat in the history of South Carolina. We're here to celebrate building a ditch, the most important ditch maybe in South Carolina history. It took us longer to go from 45 feet to 52 feet than it did to build the Panama Canal. And this project was done in record time, which tells you a lot about America. We have to up our game. And when it comes to partners, the Army Corps of Engineers and their staff was there at every step of the way. When I went to their first meeting, they were surprised, but I wanted to let them know years ago how important this was to all of us. $300 million forward funded by the state, House, Senate, and the legislative and the governor's support made it easier for Tim and myself to get it done, because you put your money where your mouth is. You did something no other state did. And I bet you want your money back, right? Well, we'll work on that. I'm working on commission, by the way, now. So my goal, working with Tim, is to get your money back over time. But it's the most important decision you've made for the future of South Carolina in generations, is to go all in for the port. The leadership, to the board, a big deal. You would not take no for an answer. The board was always there, Bill. All of you were there when we needed you. We ran ads in South Carolina about the need for the port to go to 52 feet, and it worked. I was asked questions in Pickens about how's the port going. The board and its leadership made the port real to every South Carolinian, which made it easier in the State House and in Washington. And I can't thank Tim enough. You've been such a great partner. You're always there with a smile on your face. And when Tim asks for something in the Senate, the answer is usually yes, because everybody likes Tim. When I ask for something, the answer is a lot of times yes, because no is bad for me, because I make it bad for you. So we've been a good team, and I really appreciate all we've done. Nancy, being on the Transportation Committee, will make sure that we can do all the things we need to not only get it to 52 feet here in a minute, but keep expanding. Jim's not with us, but Jim and Barbara couldn't have done it without you. I've learned more about deepening a harbor than I ever dreamed. I did not realize it was so hard in America to do this. I don't know what it was like in 1851, but if you want to deepen this thing again, if I do the Strom thing, I got 33 years left, so get on with it. But I think I'm genetically term limited. So the bottom line is, for about a decade, we have been pushing, prodding, begging, pleading, yelling, and here we are. And most people do not, to this day, understand how close we came to failing 3 times. And I can promise you, if we did not succeed, the economy of South Carolina would be fundamentally changed in the 21st century. Boeing, Michelin, BMW, Volvo, they all come here because, Governor, you're one of the best sales people for the state anywhere we've ever had. A handshake state, a great workforce. Will help your business be successful. We're not against you, we're for you. But at the end of the day, people appreciate the port. BMW's business model depends on this port. It is the largest manufacturer of BMWs, and the entire BMW family is in South Carolina. I just met with the chairman. They're building a battery plant because sooner rather than later, every car out there will be a battery-powered car. Volvo is looking at building a battery plant in South Carolina. What does that mean? We're staying relevant with the world. This is a world economy. We're competing not just with our neighbors here, but with China. If it's up to me, we'd build this port all the way to China. So if you don't have the infrastructure to meet the needs of a ever-changing world, you'll get left behind. The roads and the water and the sewer matters, right? But in a world economy, people choose you because you can connect their business to an ever-increasing global market. This port is a godsend for the people of South Carolina. It was given to us by the good Lord. We have been good stewards. We have been good stewards of the port, but in the process of deepening the port, we've been good stewards of the environment. So to all of us who had a hand in this, well done. People long after that will follow us, long after we're gone, will look back and hopefully smile on our determination to get the right answer. And the right answer for South Carolina was have the deepest port on the East Coast, connect to the vibrant economy of South Carolina, the good people of South Carolina, to the entire world. Well done.
Okay, now for a little fun. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank all of our speakers for the tremendous effort that you made to be with us today to celebrate what we call a victory for South Carolina. And I want to encourage you all to take one of the jars with you that you'll see around the event. It is actually part of the final yard of material that has come out of our harbor. I would not encourage you to take the lid off the jar. Senator Graham, would you mind joining me? All right, so just a little refresher. That is the lever that you pulled when we started construction. It's back. So here we go. Clamshell dredge 58, do you copy?
This is Clamshell Dredge 58. Go ahead.
It's time to finish what we started.
10-4, standing by.
Senator Graham, please do the honors.
I've changed my mind. No, Clamshell Dredge 58. This is Senator Graham speaking for the entire state of South Carolina. Let's do it. We're officially finished 52 feet in the Charleston Harbor.
There it is, right there. Please take a look. There it is, coming out of the harbor.